All right, it's 7:30. We're going to get started. Fourth in a series of training sessions that we have planned for this year, fourth of eight. Uh, every week we have a great presenter, so I'm sure these two gentlemen will keep up the standard and hopefully eclipse it if they can, if it's in their tool toolbox for tonight. But um, Mark Batar and Ed Camp will be presenting tonight, and everybody give them their attention. If you got a question, throw it in the chat box. Make sure your sound's off, and we give them their time. And just to point out that the next training session will be April 14th. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mark and Ed, and everybody, like I said, please shut off your audio. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for participating. We're very fortunate in New Jersey that we run these types of sessions. So thank you to the NJFOA chapters for running it. We're thankful to have Ed Camp on, who a former Super Bowl football official coming on, and a member of the NJFOA. Who will be working with me on? We're going to be presenting on OPI, defensive holding, as well as DPI. So we're going to go through the parts of this. We're going to make a decision on these plays. Obviously, sometimes there may be a disagreement or anything maybe disagree with, but that's okay. But this is the way we would rule these plays, and this is the way we would rule on them. We'll discuss a little bit of mechanics on each play just so that there's a little clarity on there and go from there. So, Ed, anything you want to add?
No, we'll talk about fouls and we'll talk about who should see those fouls. So when you get out of here tonight, you want to make sure that that's where you're looking because we didn't put any gray area type fouls up. These are clearly fouls or clearly not fouls. There's nothing that's really going to shouldn't generate any deep discussion on this. Let's just get right into the plays and the mechanics. Who's looking where? All right,
All
Ryan.
right. And again, we want to thank Ryan, who will be presenting the videos for us. And one of the things that we tried to do was we actually chose college film for these because we wanted to actually get video that was clear for everybody to see and that it's obvious because sometimes, unfortunately, when we use some of the high school film, it's a little bit challenging to see. So this will be able to get the education out of what we're looking for and the mechanics we're looking for on these. So without further ado, we'll go through the film. You ready, Ed?
I'm ready to roll.
Here we
Okay.
go.
Okay, so the first play we're going to see here is at the top of the screen. We're going to see a trips formation. Okay, let's hold it right there. And it's trips at the top. And really, only one of those two arrows is going to block downfield, actually. The back on the left-hand side of the formation, he's going to come down and commit offensive pass interference as well. Let me just give you a high alert on this. If you're at the bottom of the screen and your line of scrimmage mate at the top has three officials, there's two areas of concern for him that you're going to have to be on high alert to help him out with. The first would be illegal man downfield with three receivers, and we only have a line of scrimmage official and a deep official. He's outnumbered. They are outnumbered on that side. So you're going to need help if one of those linemen leak downfield, and it should come from the official at the bottom. The next thing is you can't have offensive pass interference unless you have a legal forward pass thrown beyond the line of scrimmage. So with all that activity, and you'll see the activity shortly in front of the line of scrimmage guy at the top, the line of scrimmage official at the bottom has got to be aware that that pass got thrown beyond the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. If it's thrown behind and we get a flag, you would get involved in that conversation and say, what do you have? I got OPI. Well, you can't have OPI if the pass is caught behind. This is thrown beyond and the contact is significantly downfield. So we can run it right from there, looking at trips. Okay, so we have actually two culprits here that are blocking downfield, and there's a receiver that comes underneath. And as Ryan moves the cursor to that second phase, we're going to get an ISO on it, and you're going to see exactly what they're doing. We want to go back right to the bookmark. Yep, right there. Okay.
It's going to come up right after that.
Yeah, it'll come on. It's camera A.
So when you look at these, you're going to, first thing you want to be able to identify also is the line of scrimmage here, which we're going to be at the minus 28 yard line. So so with a play like this, in order for this to be a legal play, how could it become legal? So is whether or not is this ball caught beyond the line of scrimmage or if it's caught behind the line of scrimmage. This is another thing that we're going to have to be able to evaluate. Right, Ed?
Yep. And got to make sure that the contact by the receivers on the defender isn't at the line of scrimmage. It's clearly beyond. And here it is. It's a couple of yards downfield by both these guys. 85 is the first guy that jumps out to us right here. 85 Cal. Okay, and they'll throw right underneath them. And number one also does a pretty good job of getting down on top of his receiver. Just a reminder as we move to the next play, which is Nevada and Penn State. Um, uh, the um, the categories, the two categories are blocking downfield, which is we know the restrictions on offensive pass interference start from the time the ball is snapped until it's touched. Okay, but our two categories would be blocking downfield. You might call it a pick. Coaches call it a pick. And the other one would be this one would be probably with the ball in the air, where the ball's up in the air and both offense and defense are hand fighting, jostling legally. Everything's legal. And then at the last second, we get a push off that creates separation. So the two categories. Blocking downfield from snap to touch is always going to be a foul. And of course, it's still a foul, snap to touch, but this one usually occurs with the ball in the air, and that's pushing off to create separation. Okay, let's look at number two. Play number two is Nevada Penn State. We're going to get trips again. We're outnumbered. At the bottom of the screen, we're going to see actually it's the second receiver in the middle, and he's going to block downfield and clear a path for the receiver coming underneath. You get a little look at that, and then in the middle of this program feed here, we're going to see, okay, move on right past that, right at A.
That's why we try to get people out of those zones there so you don't get
Yeah, right.
knocked out by like that guy was. All right. So you're going to see this coming up. They're going to show, I believe, a repeat of this.
Yeah, the result of the play was an incomplete pass, so we would decline this. But just for mechanics and rules standpoint, we'll see the pick coming here, right here on this one. Oh, go to the next one, next view, Rye. Sorry. Next view. Keep going. Keep going. They got an ISO on this. There it is right here. Okay. So you'll see number two. He'll go right down and drop this guy. Ball's got to be thrown beyond. Bang, he picks, and underneath we get the catch. Or we got a guy running underneath, and it's in this area, so we would want that. All right. Any questions on the in the chat room there?
We are good. Okay, so let's go to the next play.
Well, hold on. Keep going. Yeah, go to this view right here, Ryan. Sorry. Yeah, we're gonna see the pick at the bottom here. He gets picked, and that frees that guy up to get out there. Let's go to the next play. UCLA, UNLV. Question. Okay, question from Dan Boyle. Let's stop that right there. If we're thrown to the other side, Dan, and everybody else, that's a great question, Dan. So if we were at the bottom of the screen here and we threw to the top, now we wouldn't have offensive pass interference. But best practice in that case is if you're the line of scrimmage guy or the deep guy at the bottom, you go in and tell that guy what he's doing and get to his coach and tell him, if they throw into this third of the field over here, we would be throwing OPI, but not the other way. Good. Thanks, Dan. Good question. Okay. Second receiver in here is going to, this will be the line of scrimmage called mechanically. He's just going to free up number 3 to get in there. And actually, it's a big advantage because it frees up 3 to just go to the inside and make that catch for a touchdown. So good pickup there. Line of scrimmage guy grabbed that one. All right, let's go to the next one. Cal and Boston College. Okay. Yeah, watch this one closely here now. Okay, it's going to be that receiver right there. And I already have it in the comment section there. Not OPI because the defense slides over. Actually, the defense slides over and pushes the Boston College receiver into the contact. So if we don't see this accurately, we're probably going to drop, as we do here, we're going to drop a flag for OPI. Just watch what the defender does here. He throws number 4 right into the contact. He actually creates the pick itself with his contact. We can run that back again, Ryan, and maybe you slow it down a little bit. Okay. Well, he throws him into that that defender in there. That's creating a natural pick. You know, I'm sure defensive coaches would prefer to get that defender off the ball, but here, go ahead.
Like Ed said, you have to see the whole play from start to finish on this. And that's why your initial responsibilities at the snap of those initial responsibilities, you need to be on this so you can see this from the beginning.
Well, Mark, let me take that a little step further. That's exactly right. And let's add a little responsibility here. If we go back to the beginning, this is the wideout that gets shoved into the defender. So whose initial responsibility at the snap is the wideout? That's the deep wing. Okay. So when you see that as a deep wing, you would say, well, defense initiated this contact. I got nothing. And then the official that throws the flag is the line of scrimmage official. So he would need your help on that. But Mark got it right. You know, we should see both here. And the line of scrimmage guy would say, you know, I got a foul here. Or if he's watching the whole thing, he might not even put the flag down. But if he does, since the original responsibility is the deep wing, he would say, well, no, wait a minute, hold it. The defense initiated the contract. The defense actually caused this pick to occur. All right. Let's go to the next one, and that'll be our last one. It's App State, and I don't know who BSU is. So it was, Boise, of course, blue turf. Okay. Look at number 2 at the top of the screen. Again, let me just hold it, Ryan, right there. Again, if you're at the bottom of the screen and there's trips at the top, you now have to say to yourself, well, there's trips at the top, and there's only two officials, the line of scrimmage official at the top and the deep wing at the top, that have this. We're basically outnumbered from the snap. So what's going to happen? We need the official at the bottom, the line of scrimmage official at the bottom, to be on high alert for the pass going beyond the line of scrimmage. And of course, it's not going to happen here, but illegal man downfield on a pass. Okay, you're outnumbered at the top. We need assistance at the bottom. Let's look at that second receiver. This is a perfect example. You could have 2 flags on this one. And he just picks him right off, and the timing of the pass is perfect for the App State guy to get underneath that. Okay. Any questions? Anything in the chat room, Steve? All right. So let's go to our next category, which would be defensive holding.
And Ryan, on this one, we're going to go right to Cam 10.
Yep. Okay.
So Ed, can you talk a little bit right here at this? Can we just go over now on this basic two receivers on the top? Can you go over whose initial responsibility is what at the snap for us, please?
Sure. This is our optimum with our 6-person mechanic. This is our optimum formation. This is when the offense is doing us a favor. At the top of the screen, we've got 2. At the bottom of the screen, we have 2. So it's 2 by 2. And we'll start out with our initial responsibility at the snap. The wide out at the top, I have that arrow pointed at him. That would be the deep wings initial responsibility. Okay. So you'd be sitting back there taking this guy for the potential of what? Defensive holding, offensive pass interference, and when the ball goes up in the air, DPI. the slot at the top at the minus 28-yard line right there, that'll be the responsibility of the line of scrimmage official. And if we slide to the bottom, we'll start with the wide man. Okay, he's off the line of scrimmage, but he is going to be the responsibility at the snap of the deep wing to that side. Here's another indicator that you're on a little bit of a vacation for a while. The wide out at the bottom is not even pressed. There's nobody near him. Okay, so basically you're just going to let him run in space until another person comes into your zone or whatever. Second receiver on the 30-yard line right there, that's going to be the responsibility of the line of scrimmage. But our attention on this play, we want to go to the top, and we're going to take a look at what that defender does to the offensive player. He's going to spin him a little bit before the ball is thrown. Takes him off the route, he even loses a step there, and the quarterback still has the ball in his hand when he throws this. Okay, if we run that back just again, Ryan, so we can take a look at the timing. Now, when you're the deep wing at the top and you see that grab that takes a step away, right here, we're going to get a grab that takes the step away right there. Okay, you want to look back at the quarterback, and he's looking right there. He's pumping right there. Now, they decline this because, the pass is complete, 45 yards downfield. But still, that's the proper way to officiate, using that two-step process. Okay? Let's look at the next one here. Stony Brook and San Diego State.
Next one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we can just play the program on this.
3rd down and 5.
Turn that sound on. There you go. Good. Okay, this is a big time grab. The quarterback grabs and takes down the receiver. The quarterback has the ball in his hand, so it's just DH. Use the two-step process. After you see, this is a pretty egregious grab takedown right here. Let's watch him. He only gets about 4 or 5 yards downfield. Snatch right there. And where's the quarterback? Back it up just a little bit, right, so we can time it. Life isn't like this. I know that, but if you're the deep wing, or even if you're the line of scrimmage guy in this case here, that big takedown, you don't have to process anything there. That's a hold of some sort. And now he's looking right there. Okay, so he's got to throw it away. And look at the result of the play. We don't have this, the luxury of knowing that this is a great call because, the defense gets up there and the kid drops the ball. So two-step process. See the foul, process the restriction, look back at the quarterback. Okay. Let's get to the next one. It's Georgia Tech and Colorado. We'll go right to Cam 10.
So now on Ed, one of the things that you talked about with those initial responsibilities at the snap, it's at the snap. So oftentimes we kind of take a picture at the snap. So with some of these players, you're going to start to see shifting from one place to another. And so this is a good example. Let's start with where we are here. You're going to see trips on the bottom, Ed, and then watch them shifting. So right now, if we had trips, we're going to have certain responsibilities. And then before the snap happens, we're going to see things change. So let's play this, Ed, and let's pause it at the snap. So right now, we're seeing trips here. And then now look where we are. So, Ed, we're in that 2x2 you talked about, right?
Right. We started out of the huddle with trips, but then we don't have a snap yet. We have a legal shift by the offense that creates double-double. So it's like the previous play. We were looking at 2x2, and they shifted into that. So now we would just be at our optimum. This is our optimum formation in 6-person officiating. So at the bottom, we'd have the deep wing taking the wide out. The second man in would be taken by the line of scrimmage, and it's the same thing at the top, except at the top, the wide out would be covered by or taken as an initial responsibility by the deep wing, but that guy that motioned from this side all the way to the top now becomes the responsibility of the line of scrimmage official. All right, but our action is going to be down here at the bottom.
Perfect.
Prolonged jersey pull. Okay, so if you go back to the beginning, Ryan, just hold it there so I can talk through what happens here. So the receiver's got a little bit more athleticism or speed and beats the guy in for Colorado in blue, and to catch up, he grabs the jersey. okay, to keep himself in the route. And if you're telling a coach, coach says to you, hey, what did my guy do on that play? You say, well, he was beat off the snap and he grabbed the jersey, which allowed him to stay in the route. Not great coverage, but it's definitely an advantage. And that grab definitely slows up the receiver here. So if we look at it again, see if all that comes true. He's beat off the snap, bang with that move, and now he stretches. And where's the quarterback looking at this point? Right there. Okay, and we don't know what the result of the play is going to be, whether it's a sack, an incomplete pass, or a 45-yard gain as we had earlier. But now let's just talk about the rule here. If we have defensive holding, we know that's not an automatic first down. It's just a 10-yard foul. But this is the result of this play is a sack. So we would go to the previous spot, which is the 20-yard line or so, and we would go 10 yards forward. And if that put us, in this case, it would, I think, is that the line of scrimmage here at the 20? Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. All right. Somebody work with this. Okay. So this would be previous spot, 10 yards, and the yardage, if it gets us a first down, would be a first down. If it doesn't, it would be whatever the next down is in short. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have two more here. Kent State. Yeah. Okay. Cam 7. Multiple fouls on this one.
And one of the things that we're always looking at at every single snap is, what are your initial responsibilities at the snap? And that is where, when we look at every one of these plays, please make sure you are following that, so you know where every official's eyes need to be. If your eyes are where you need to be, you're going to have a better chance of following and getting these fouls, or not calling these fouls, but you're seeing the play from the beginning to the end. So let's go to the next one, Ed.
Yeah, that's it right here. Let's just hold. I want to just piggyback on what Mark just said there. It's critically important that you know what your initial responsibility is. We're not putting gray fouls up here that needs a lot of debate. These are fouls that should be, we should call these, and we're going to drive up our accuracy if we are looking in the right spot. Okay, the tight ones are tight. We get that. Okay, even coaches get that. But if it's something egregious and we miss it, it's probably because we're not looking in the right spot. If we showed you that play, like we show you this one here, there's 2 fouls on this play. You can run it. What happens here is, good, run it right. The defense grabs them at the outset, right there, and takes him down out of his game, so to speak. But now the ball's up in the air and he grabs him again. So what started out was a DH is almost like a second play. The offensive player was able to shake free and kind of right himself, and the quarterback chose to throw it there. And now we have your run-of-the-mill DPI. But up front, if we're looking, and then that deep wing official threw there, and I'm sure he had multiple fouls on the play. He had up front the DH before the ball got thrown. And then another act, the receiver actually, fought himself off that hold and then had a few steps to continue his route. And then, the ball's in the air and they grabbed him from there, turning this into DPI. All right. Okay, let's look at Iowa and Rutgers. It's our last play on DH. And it's Cam A. Yeah, there it is right there. I put it out there for you, Ryan. I got that bookmark right there. Okay. Let's run it. Yeah, it's the second man in. Okay, we got trips again. Okay. So it's share and declare on the second guy there. When I say that, I mean the wide out at the bottom would be the responsibility of the deep wing. Number 3 receiver there, 88 or whatever he is, he would be the responsibility of the short wing, and we would share them. Now, we're in good shape. Even though we're outnumbered here, here's why we're in good shape. No one on the defense is in press. So we can kind of zone these guys up like we did when we worked 5-man or when I worked 4-man. We can zone them up. The challenge is when we're outnumbered like this is when they get up and press. Now you got the possibility of OPI, of a receiver trying to shake the defender, or the defender smacking him in the mask early, or the defender grabbing him right at the outset. But we don't have that issue here. We're outnumbered. Yep, we're outnumbered 3-2 here, but we got them back. They're not playing press. So let's take a look at the defender who takes down the receiver. And the quarterback still has the ball in his hands. Okay. And actually, we could probably get two on this because the inside guy gets held too. If we go back, whatever you looked at on the first shot of this, take a look at that inside guy there. Watch what happens to him. 48 gets grabbed as well. Okay, we got a big takedown on that middle guy, and the third guy in gets taken down as well. I'd say that second one, you might want to look at it a little bit and see if that second foul occurred with the ball in the air. That would upgrade this from a simple DH to DPI, defensive pass interference.
And
Okay.
and with that being said, oh, okay. So let's go back to one of these original plays, Ryan. If we could just go back to one of those double doubles. Ed, can you talk about the back? Not on this play because this is trips. I think Georgia Tech, Colorado. And then we'll go to Cam 10.
To ask that same question. He wants to know what about the backs coming out. Let's take a look.
Yes. So so I think they're going to be shifting on this, Ryan.
Yep.
So if we can have them shift and just play that through a little bit. Okay. So Ed, can you talk to us about the back on this play? Because they're in 2 and 2. They're a 2x2 on this. So what do we do here with the back?
Okay, so the first thing is at the bottom of the screen, neither defender's in press. That's good. So at the top, though, it looks like they're going to get on top of those receivers. The challenge is with 6-person officiating is we take those two wide outs on the line of scrimmage as much as we can, at the outset. We got a little bit of a break at the bottom because they're separated, but at the top, we got to take a look. Now, the back, this is Joe's question in the chat room. We're going to have to take the back coming out of the backfield to our side. So if I'm the line of scrimmage guy at the bottom and that single back there comes out, we would have to take both of them. It is a challenge. I get it. If you had 7, it would be different. And even then, 7's not perfect coverage on this. So if you run it, let's just focus not on any of the fouls, the previous fouls that I had. Let's just watch the back and see what he does when he comes out. Okay, he's all alone back there in the backfield with the quarterback. And okay, so that would be the responsibility of you would look, if you were the line of scrimmage official at the top, you would look at your man there and see what's happening. And once he's free of foul, you would get back to him. I know we're outnumbered and I know there's a problem with timing, but that's the best we can do right here. Okay.
So eventually you may have to have 2 players at the same time.
Yeah,
you're
you're
going to be
gonna have
watching 2.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the beast. And that's where we have to kind of be ready for that and identify you're not just going to be able to, especially as a deep wing on this play, you're not going to just be able to get one player against another player. You're going to maybe have to be officiating 4 players at this point.
Right. The categories we break up, or the segments that we break up is man. So that means we just snap the ball and there's man-to-man coverage, or two players are near each other. That would be man. The next would be zone. And in this case, we are now past the man phase. The receivers are now about 15 yards downfield here. So we would take zone, and whose zone would likely take that, or where is that receiver going into a zone? To the guy at the top, the short wing at the top. We would be looking for, we would cover the receivers at the top until they're free of foul. But then as we move into the zone phase, that running back comes out to the side zone of the line of scrimmage official at the top. That's a good question, but we're outnumbered. I don't even think 8 officials can cover this, perfectly. All right. What's our last one there? We got that. We're going to DPI now? Yeah.
Yes. So we'll start off with Syracuse, Tennessee.
Yep. And program feed and cam A will show the grab and restrict with the ball in the air. Okay. Okay, we got trips again at this one. At the outset, let's see what happens. Yep, they stay in trips. Okay, we're going to let them declare. So the line of scrimmage at the bottom and the deep official at the bottom, just let them declare where they're coming. And the line of scrimmage official would take the short route, and the deep wing would take the deep post. Okay. Big time collision there. Real good officiating. The deep wing, as you know, in that case would be sitting on the goal line. And he just, if you can run that back a little bit, there you go. It would be a grab and restrict with the ball in the air and make sure you don't hit anybody with your flag. It's a poised flag throw. If we go back to the beginning of that, I don't want to leave Joe hanging here. Joe had a real good question about. Let's take a look at the slot and see what he does here. Okay, it's the wing back. Sorry, wing back. Two receivers to the bottom. This is actually trips, but let's take a look at that receiver right there. He's going to do us a favor. Okay, bang, right there. He stayed in and blocked. We're good there. Umpire referee could slide out there, but by then the ball's gone anyway. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ed, if we go back to that, can you just, I know you talked about the wing back here, but then that back, if he was, what is the line of scrimmage official on this play at the top of the screen? If he goes out, he would take him, correct?
The line of scrimmage official at the top. Now, the line of scrimmage official at the top would be, this is trips to the bottom. So
Right.
he would be on high alert for IDP. Okay.
Okay.
And he'd have the line of scrimmage in case the quarterback threatened the line of scrimmage with throwing the ball over the line of scrimmage. The wing back here is in pass blocking. Okay.
Right.
If he were to go out for a pass, we'd have to share both. In fact, what we would do here, if he went out for a pass, if that wing back went out for a pass, at some point we would leave these two wideouts as a line of scrimmage official. We'd let them go deep, and we would take coming out.
Right. And then what about number 8, the guy who's behind the quarterback, if he was to go out?
We're going to be outnumbered again, but we'd have to take him too. Most likely having defensive help holding on him, but he could be interfered with. Yep.
Sounds good. Okay, great.
All right.
Okay.
There's some holes, I guarantee you. Okay. Number 2 is, this is, okay. First of all, we got to realize this. The ball is snapped on the 10-yard line. For the deep wings, our normal depth is probably 20 yards, 22 yards off the ball. This red zone snap here causes problems. We're snapping on the 10, and the vision of the deep wings, they're parked. They have to be on the pylon, so they're going to be a little bit obstructed, or they're not going to have that same panoramic view that they have when they have a 20-yard, 22-yard drop off at the snap. So the line of scrimmage guys, when we get inside that red zone, you have to be cognizant of helping out on DPI. Okay, you got to say to yourself, this guy's got a 10-yard buffer. He normally has a 22-yard buffer. Our deep wings normally have a 22-yard buffer. So the short wings have to be aggressive and say, there's some stuff he might miss there that I'm going to see. A grab of the jersey from behind, or even contact, because the play is basically right in front of him. We don't have that optimum viewing distance where, this is a 10-yard a look for the deep wings that must be on the pylon. You got to stay on the pylon. So if we look at the bottom here, here's what we got. What do we got? We got trips, but the two receivers in the middle are not pressed. So we're okay. This is pretty good. That's mainly what happens in red zone. They don't want to get in press coverage, because then it makes it easy for them to get picked legally. Contact at the line of scrimmage. But we're going to take a look at an aggressive line of scrimmage official who's helping his buddy out here, and let's see what he does at the bottom. Okay. Okay, now the deep wing is being aggressive. We're going to give him a positive for that. Okay, he's being aggressive because, as you can see, his deep wing, the short wing throws on this. The deep wing is sitting back with that obstructed, kind of narrowed view. There he is, right there. Hold it right there. So his look is right there, and he's right on top of that. Normally, he would be, possibly 10 yards away upfield, but in this case, this is only mutual hand fighting with the ball in the air. And what they do is here, the deep wing tells the line of scrimmage guy to pick it up. I mean, that's just outstanding crew mechanics and judgment on this play here. I like the fact that the short wing is aggressive because of all the nonsense going on in front of the deep wing is hampered. His vision is just too tight to this, but he did see enough of it that it was just hand fighting. And the other thing that happens here is this is another good rule. When somebody throws on your initial responsibility, if in this case the line of scrimmage official threw on the deep wing's initial responsibility or key at this point, you know, you threw on my guy. I'm looking at it. I have an opinion about this, and not only did he have an opinion, he made the short wing pick it up. That's excellent officiating right there. Okay, let's look at play 3, which is Miami and Notre Dame, and program feed is the best one. Okay, we're gonna get again, he's beat pretty well, and he's going to grab right there. The defender of Notre Dame there, number 6, is beat, and he grabs a receiver by the legs with the ball in the air and just tackles him to the ground. Okay, ball's up right now, and he just is beat and is tackled. Nice flag throw, stops the clock, gives the preliminary because he's the only official in that play.
I think he just pointed the wrong way, but we do know.
Yeah.
But they did enforce this, right? And if we go, we're actually going to get a repeat to show this shortly after the announcing of the flag. Just let it run through. They're going to show it right here. So this is one, you can see the hand extends, and that's what trips the player. And so this is not what we would say, oh, just their feet tangling or anything like that. This is the hand caused that. This is a great call for DPI.
A great save by the kid for Notre Dame, too, if you think he's probably beaten. And if this ball gets caught, we're going, Of course, the coach is probably asking about feet tangle, just like you mentioned that. But the last act is the illegal act. He grabs him by the ankle and takes it down. Good. All right. Let's look at Butler and WSTU. Good luck with that one. All right. Program feed. The defensive back is not playing the ball with contact. Okay. The deep wing's going to throw on this one. Okay. He's beat and he just runs into him and look right away. We're getting a little game flow. He's given the preliminary signal downfield and showing everybody. There it is right there. The short wing doesn't throw on this, and I think you can be there. Short wings, I think we should be there because this is pretty good. He's playing into the body of the receiver, and I think the HL in this case, that's the short wing in the picture to the left there. He should have it. But the side judge does a good job. It's his initial responsibility, and he just has, he has the foul. There's no flag from the HL, so the side judge just gives a nice flag placement, flag toss, and preliminary signal. And what is the preliminary signal does? It gets everybody thinking about what we had and where we're going. So if the umpire gets that notification from the side judge, we start to get a little bit of game flow. We get a ball in. We're going to march off 15 yards. We see where we are after the march off the 15 yards. The referee can, process his signal. And I know more and more we're getting some stadium microphones, so the referee can practice his, work on his announcements as well. So just a pretty well officiated play all the way around. Just like to see the short wing. This is pretty egregious, and we would need your help on this. Okay, Cal and Boston College. Okay, this is on this play is going to find the side judge on the goal line, and the side judge's position is on the goal line. He's got a nice smooth flag tossed and poised signal. Okay, the defender is all over the receiver. You can't use that. You'd have to say grab and restrict or early contact into the body. We want to try to be uniform in what we talk to the coaches, so it shows some sort of consistency from all of us to all of you. Talk the same language. Wear them out with the consistency. Yeah.
And now, Ed, on this one, just when the ball is snapped, and Ryan, could you just rewind it just a second? Because I just want to really belabor the point of taking.
All right, Mark, go ahead. Double, double.
Take a picture at the snap. So you're going to see it as a double double. Now let's watch what this back does. We have a receiver running, and now when he runs past here, what does that now create? A trips to one side of the field, right?
Right. We play trips here at the bottom. Okay.
And that's where we want everybody to make sure, because we can talk about what's a defensive hold, what's DPI, we can talk about that. But if you don't have your eyes where they need to be at the start of the snap, you're not going to have a very good percentage in getting these calls right. So let's make sure we look for stuff like this, especially players in motion. Okay, Ed, you're good.
Yep. Okay. This is Cal. Okay. Hold it. Question. Who is primary on jet passes? No, we never want to watch jet passes. We never want to be watching the ball. We want to take our responsibility at the snap. Zach, you got to be a little clearer than that. I'm not really sure where you're going with this one.
I'm not exactly sure what a jet pass is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's talking about a jet sweep. So we just want to see
I
where
think
that
he means the shovel. Like if they shovel it, if they flip this ball forward to the back in motion.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a pitch forward to a jet motion.
Okay, so what do you want to know about that? Who's looking at that?
Yeah, because I know that I know this is kind of outside the play, but I was just looking at the
No.
motion. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I've been to a couple of camps the last 4 weeks, and I'm seeing that, that exchange get dropped and we're playing it fumble. That's a forward pass. The referee would have a piece of that because he'd be taking the quarterback, but the line of scrimmage guys also have to know, especially the line of scrimmage official that is not overburdened. So in this case, it would be the guy at the top because, as Mark said, we started double and we transitioned into trips at the bottom. So that would free up the guy at the top to help us out with that. But I would say, Zach, that starts with the referee. He's going to judge whether that's a forward pass or not.
All right, got it. Thank you.
But I don't want a prolonged look by anybody else other than the referee on this one. He's where he's supposed to be anyway. He's going to be married to the quarterback throughout. I don't want our line of scrimmage guys staring this down and then miss something downfield. That's a great question, though, because we get a lot of that. It's a no lose situation. If they miscue that play, it's an incomplete pass, no problem. Okay, but as I told you, the last couple of weeks I've been seeing guys play that as a fumble. It's not. It's a forward pass. Okay. Yeah.
And then the next question was, if we have two flags, no preliminary signals. That is correct. If we have two flags on a play, we'll come together, make sure we have it, and we know what we're calling. No need for any type of preliminary signals if we have two different flags on the play.
And while we're only going over passing plays tonight, passing fouls tonight, anytime there's two flags, you got to get together and talk. Just because you have a punt return and the umpire and the line of scrimmage guy have flags down and one guy's got a real obvious offensive hold, you can't assume that that's the same place that the umpire was looking. So just in general, this could be on any of our calls during the year. If you have two flags on the play, you got to get together and talk and just make sure you're on the same page. All right, let's look at this one here. Who is this now? This is Boston College. Okay. Side judges on the goal line. Yeah. Yeah, he's all over him. And look where he throws the flag and gives a good signal. And he's the only flag. So he's given the pass interference call and the direction. And it just gets everybody, announcer, coaches, one coach ain't going to like it. But the referee thinking of his announcement and the umpire who's going to walk off the foul will just get a real good game flow going. All right. This is a real good look right here. He's kind of all over him right away and is not even looking back. So he loses any kind of flexibility that we could have with letting him off the hook here. He's turning into him, and that contact just closes the gap as far as letting them go. We're going to be on high alert to throw the flag on this one. Good on that one. All right, let's go to Princeton and Columbia.
Yeah, and the other thing too is with that play, make sure you're not throwing the flags at the players. And I think Ed mentioned that before, but I want to highlight that again. Don't throw them at the player. We've had a few instances now where the flags are actually hitting players. We don't throw flags at players. So we can be able to go and place that and throw that there. So another thing to just keep in our toolbox to not try to do.
Mark knows this better than anybody on this call. That complaint did not come from an observer or a supervisor. That complaint about hitting players with flags came from head coaches. Okay. So, you would say, well, I got nothing in my flag. Well, some guys don't have. You don't load your flags up either with extra stuff, shotgun pellets or weights or anything like that. Just leave it the way you bought it in the store. And if it's light and it's windy and you got to adjust. But number one, don't throw your flags and hit players. That came from coaches. I don't like when guys do that. Oh, okay. Okay, coach. I never thought anything of it, but that's what they want. That's what they notice. That's what we're going to give them. Okay. Tight zone down here, right? We're on the 5, and it's Princeton and Columbia, and the field judge is going to make a DPI call.
Ed, before we start on this, let's just talk a little bit about mechanics. We're at the B5. So what are our line of scrimmage officials doing on a play like this, 1st and goal?
Well, okay, so the ball's touching the nose of the football is touching the B5, and we know the line of demarcation for goal line coverage for our officials is the B7. So if the nose of the football is touching the B7, we're going to push the deep wings back to the corner of the end zone, okay? And the line of scrimmage officials at the snap will angle back to an optimum position off the pylon. And, we know that the runner, receiver, offensive players are going to attack that pylon. That's their goal line. And the defenders are going to be there too. So we need to angle back off the goal line and get a good cushion off the pylon so we can officiate blocking, because you're going to officiate from the B7 to the B1. As you move down to the goal line, you've still got to officiate. You got to watch blocking if it's a run play. You got to watch your initial responsibility, your receiver, when you're moving down there. So you just can't just move down there and show people that you're athletic. You've got to officiate on the way down from the B7 or wherever you're snapping inside the B7 to the goal line. Okay. And the deep wings would be on the back line here because we don't have the back judge like they do in this play. Okay, he's all over him, and we get 2 flags on this play because they're both get 2 flags, and we want them to come together and confirm that you have the same thing. Just make sure that you're both on the same page. You don't give a preliminary here. You just, report the foul, get together, and if you both agree on it, right from there in the end zone, you could give the preliminary. One of the two could give the preliminary. All right.
On this play, Ed, if we could, can we look at camera 1, Ryan, at like 104? And this is going to speak to really what Ed was talking about. And
Well,
Ed has, and
I want to go back to my positioning. We would move, Ryan, if you could take the cursor and show where we want our deep wings. We want them on the hash marks, right? We don't want them on the corner of the end zone. Jerry, thanks. Show them where we want them. We would want them like
we want them on the numbers.
The T, yeah, on the numbers, right?
So about the P in Princeton and the O in Princeton, obviously in the back of the end zone is where we want our deep wings.
Yep. Thanks, Jared. Good. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay, so now when we go and we just keep playing this, Ryan, just a couple more seconds and then pause it. And now Ed talked about a little more. Just play 1 more second right there. Okay. So now when we're looking at this play, Ed talked about angling off the line of scrimmage officials, and they're off of the goal line, which is great. But now, Ed, talk to us a little bit about this official's eyes. He's not moving. So can you talk a little bit about being able to stand there and view and look and not be on a move completely?
Yeah, with only 1 receiver and 1 defender in the end zone here, we want to snap to the ball. We don't want to track this ball. See the ball? It's in the back of the end zone right now. We don't want to track it from the quarterback's hands because the restrictions in defensive pass interference occur when the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage. We don't want to be tracking it because the damage could be done already here. So what you want to do is freeze your eyes. You're about to make an accuracy call. We have a mesh point. What's a mesh point? It's a point where two or more objects come together. Here we have three. We have the defensive player, we have an offensive player, and we have the ball. And sometimes we have a fourth. Sometimes we have the sideline as well. So when you're making judgments, this one's pretty easy because the defender is clearly beaten, is all over this guy. But you want to be frozen to make this. You can, freeze your eyes and just keep your eyes still. I call them sniper eyes. You got to hold your eyes still so you have accuracy in your decision. All right. Okay.
Thanks, Ed.
Good. Cal, Minnesota. Okay, another trips. Let's just look at the formation. Trips. So we're going to share and declare, right? We're sharing and declaring the middleman. The wide out at the bottom is going to be the responsibility of the deep wing and the number 3 receiver, 1, 2, 3. That will be the wide out. But again, hey, we're in good shape right here. We got trips and everybody's playing off them. Good. We'll run it. He's beat and plays into the body with the ball in the air, and the deep wing is all over it because that was his initial responsibility at the snap.
And I think we're going to get another view of this coming up.
Yeah, right there at my bookmark. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an ISO. Yep. So he's not playing the ball. He plays into the body. And again, I think somebody a couple plays before asked, can the short wing help? Absolutely. Once the ball goes up in the air, remember our segments now, man, zone, ball. So man, we would be taking, OPI or DH. Zone, we could have anything there. But when we get to ball, you just, everybody, it's got to be all hands on deck when the ball goes up in the air. And in this case, it's right between the short wing and the deep wing. You can help out. Most likely, you would probably see a jersey grab from behind, and that's where the line of scrimmage guy would help. But sometimes we get, arms raked down. Defensive player just takes the arms away or an arm away, and you see a receiver go up. Let's see what he's doing here. Yeah, he's up and all over him there, completely engulfed in that player, not playing the ball, early contact. But again, make sure when we report that to the coach, early contact, not playing the ball with contact. Let's wear them out with consistently using the same verbiage on the sideline, because eventually they're going to hear it, for 7 or 8 straight weeks, and they're probably going to figure out that at least we're being consistent in our communication and what we're calling. There's a question from Ted. I didn't say anything about catchable. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no, catchability. I see there's a coach, asking for that. We don't have catchability. Got it. Okay, Wake Forest.
There was a question on that. I was answering the question.
Oh, okay, good. 8, Wake Forest, Oregon State. I think Ryan might have been at this game. Okay. Defender impedes the receiver, not playing the ball. Let's see, hold it. 2 by 2. 2 by 2, right? You can see.
So again, I'm repeating this, and I want to draw it every single time. Every single play at the snap, the line of scrimmage officials and our deep wings should be taking a picture at the snap and identifying the formations so you can identify the initial responsibilities at the snap. Once you do that, you'll know where your eyes are, and your eyes will take you with the rest of the play. So, all right. On this one, we're going to look at what the defender is doing, I think, Ed.
Yep. He's playing loose. The defender is beat, and he just simply impedes the receiver here. Oh, he's playing off, and he's going to close on. I think he bit on that second move and went right into him. Okay. Good flag. Timeout signal. If it's the only flag, we're given a prelim here. Yep, one more look, right? Thanks. Not pressed, non-pressed coverage. He bites on that move. He's beat and just, I got to do what I got to do. So he does it, and we take care of business with this solid call there. This is our last play here, Syracuse and Pitt. Okay, it's a short field. This is what we're talking about. We'll take a look. Hold on, right? So, oh, wait a minute. Question from Chris Malkin. But philosophy, okay, we're not going to talk philosophy. Okay. Defender plays into the torso of receiver, driving him out of bounds with a push to the chest. This could be, since it's man zone ball, this would be in the ball phase. Okay. The ball is up in the air. Notice the line of scrimmage official at the top. Okay. We're snapping from the B4, and he's off the sideline, which is good, and he should angle back where that guy is with the headset and the hoodie right there at the goal line. You want to get those guys out of there, and you want to angle back because we know that they're going to attack the pylon. And then when they throw the ball into the end zone, we want to pivot and be looking down the sideline and share that responsibility. That's an HL at the top, so that would be the side judge. He wouldn't be coming from there; he'd be coming from the pylon, but they'd be sharing that sideline and sharing this contact on the play. So let's take a look at this one here. As the ball goes up in the air, we got a defender that's beat. There he is, and he plays right into the torso. This is quick. Now, there's only one flag on the play, but look what happens. This is good conversation. They're having a conversation. The HL might be trying to talk him off that it is pretty quick. I think we get a replay of it. But to the credit of the side judge, he's not backing down. Okay, and we stick with pass interference on this in the end zone. Here's the look right here. He plays right into him with that right hand. There's a big time push there. Okay, and of course, I think the result of the play is he's pushing on him right there and kind of rides him out of bounds. Yeah, so that right foot steps on the sideline because of the contact, the significant contact to the torso of the receiver here. That creates the incomplete pass. So that's all we got for tonight. 8:27. Any questions? Okay, Mark, Ryan, Steve Citro, thanks a lot for your help tonight before we started. And if you got anything, you know where to get a hold of us. Mark, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ed, for these plays. Hopefully, this was able to get everybody on the same page. You're taking a look at your mechanics, taking a look at where you are at the snap, and then identifying these things. I think once you break it down into those categories of the play, you're going to be able to be accurate much more percent of the time, higher percent of the time when you follow those mechanics, especially those things that Ed was talking about. So again, thanks to Ed for doing this. Scott, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, it's great job. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Steve, for setting it up. And of course, Mark and Ed, excellent job. Good job. Everybody, reminder, April 14th, next presentation. Otherwise, have a good holiday weekend. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Good night.